All right. My name is Kayo. I'm a managing partner at Base Consulting, and I'm excited to speak to you about the interconnector agents that we are building to support the development of pre-feasibility studies on the continent. And for someone to first understand what a pre-feasibility study agent, they'll need to understand what an interconnector actually is. And interconnectors, we're speaking specifically about grid interconnectors. Now, to paint a picture, not every African country has the same level of natural resources. For example, you have countries like DRC that have immense resources as far as minerals are concerned. We have other countries like Sudan with immense potential as far as oil is concerned, and so on and so forth. The same case applies in energy. The other countries that have immense potential as far as energy is concerned, and they're able to produce as much energy as they need. A good example is Ethiopia, where they have over 5 gigawatt GAD system. And there are also other nations that are not able to generate as much energy as they will need. A good example is Malawi, which in some instances have been mentioned as having an energy deficit. Now, even to rally the amount of funding required to set up energy generation assets within Malawi is proving to be a challenge. And one of the solutions that have been put across is to create an instance where we're having countries trade energy between each other. And in order for us to facilitate that movement of electrons from one country with energy abundance to another country with energy deficit, we require interconnectors. And these are basically just transmission infrastructure that helps to move energy from one country to another country. Now, to set up these interconnectors or these grid interconnectors, it costs quite a bit. For example, if you give the example of Kenya-Tanzania interconnector, it costs more than $300 million to create, or rather to build that interconnector between Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania that allows for the flow of over 1,600 megawatts of electricity between the two countries. Now, the cost of putting together a pre-feasibility study for that particular interconnector between Kenya and Tanzania would cost anywhere between 1% of the cost to 10% of the cost. And this is basically consulting costs and other services as other servicing costs. That means that to set up an interconnector between Kenya and Tanzania, or even between Tanzania and Malawi, the pre-feasibility study costs will be anywhere between $500,000 all the way to $1.5 million. And it will take you a range of various consultants and a huge amount of time for you to be able to deliver on just the pre-feasibility study piece. Now, we're excited to report that we have found a way to reduce the time taken to put together this pre-feasibility studies for these interconnector agents, and also reduce the costs dramatically to enable these projects to take off the ground as fast as they can. Now, how are we able to achieve this? If you think about the process of putting together a pre-feasibility study, all the data points that are required can be accessed and the analysis can be done on the desktop. The only thing that we need to do is to have the right kind of methodologies to either assess the power flow structure between the two countries, to assess the econometric requirements between the two countries, to assess things or other issues related to environmental protection. So finding ways in which you can execute the ESIA as fast as we can with the relevant data that are needed. With the agents that we've built, we have created, and utilizing artificial intelligence and particularly large language models, we've been able to build a system that is able to tap into these data points and to tap into these data sources, bring them all together into one system, and get the AI to analyze each and every aspect of the process of developing the pre-feasibility study to a point where it will generate the pre-feasibility study within some instances, and in some instances within weeks. Now, the only step that will be required following that, as is expected, is the human intervention, where the human just checks for errors and ensures that the pre-feasibility study report matches the industry standard required by the industry. Now, the big question there would be, what is the level of application of such kind of a system, or rather of such kind of an agent? And the application is actually widespread. The African Union Development Agency, the AUDA-NEPAD, is tasked with ensuring that Africa has a single electricity market with as many countries as possible and as many power pools as possible connected to each other and trading energy. And the only way we can achieve that vision by 2063 is by ensuring that everything that is needed to be done in order to interconnect countries has been done. And our contribution to this process is coming up with this way to knock off the cost and knock off the time of doing the pre-feasibility study for the interconnectors. And this is solving a very big problem. One of the biggest problems that we see is delays in disbursement of funding because of the fact that we've not moved from pre-feasibility to feasibility. There is a case where it was mentioned that it will take about 3 years to rally up the kind of funding required to do about 12 interconnector agents. Now, that should not be the case. If you are able to demonstrate that with the right kind of data, which includes transmission data, includes environmental data, includes econometric data, with this kind of data, we are able to put together these pre-feasibility study agents in a very short period of time and at a fraction of the cost. The impact delivered there will be a faster delivery of projects and a faster delivery of the interconnectedness that is required in order for us to be able to move electrons from energy surplus countries like Ethiopia to countries that require this energy in order to electrify our people and deliver the impact that you want to deliver. In addition, if you'd like to have a demo done for you on this particular agent, please reach out to us on our contacts given down below, and we'll be able to demonstrate to you exactly how this platform works. And we'll be really, really eager to learn from you and to hear from you on how we can even make it better in order for us to contribute collectively to the efforts of electrifying our continent. Thank you very much.